January 3rd, 2026. In the early hours of the morning, reports began to emerge from Caracas. Loud noises, power outages, confusion. Then came the announcement.
Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro and his wife Celia Flores are tonight being held in the United States.
President Trump says the U.S. carried out large...
The United States military has carried out a large-scale...
The U.S., according to President Trump.
The President of the United States claimed that Nicolás Maduro, Venezuela's sitting president, had been captured during a U.S. operation. No buildup, no warning. In a single statement, decades of tension between Washington and Caracas reached a breaking point. This is the story of how that moment became possible and why it is a moment that might change the whole view upon the United States of America.
C Media.
Once powered by vast oil reserves, the country slid into economic collapse. Inflation spiraled. Shortages became normal. Millions of people left. Nicolás Maduro remained in power, but his legitimacy was increasingly questioned abroad. When Donald Trump entered office, the U.S. position hardened. Sanctions expanded. Venezuelan assets were frozen. Diplomatic ties collapsed. Then came a move without precedent. The U.S. Justice Department accused Maduro of narco-terrorism and placed a reward on his arrest. To Washington, this reframed the conflict, not as diplomacy, but as criminal enforcement. To Maduro, it confirmed something else entirely, that regime change was no longer a theory, it was a plan. From that point on, confrontation was no longer a possibility, it was the trajectory. By late 2025, signs of escalation were increasingly visible. U.S. military movements in the region intensified. Intelligence activity increased. Reports suggested growing fractures inside Venezuela's power structure. Officially, Washington described its actions as routine and defensive, but the messaging had changed. Then came January 3rd. Explosions were reported near Caracas. Sections of the capital lost electricity. Airspace was restricted. Hours later, President Trump addressed the world.
At my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela.
He claimed that U.S. forces had carried out a successful operation and that Nicolás Maduro was in custody. The statement sent shockwaves through global politics and through social media. Supporters saw resolve. Critics saw overreach. But regardless of interpretation, one thing was clear. The relationship between the United States and Venezuela had crossed a point of no return. Inside Venezuela, power fractured. Competing claims of legitimacy emerged. The future of the state itself became uncertain. International reactions were divided. Some governments questioned the legality of the operation. Others focused on the broader implications, what it meant for sovereignty, precedent, and global order. The Trump administration framed the moment as accountability, a necessary step towards stability. But history offers a warning. Removing a leader does not guarantee peace. Power vacuums rarely stay empty. And as Venezuela entered its next chapter, the world was left with a larger question. Was this an isolated moment or a signal of how power will be used in the future?